Hi, it's Dawson Church here from EFT Universe, and I'd like to share with you today about something that is really hard to share about, and that is some of my negative experiences as a practitioner. And yes, we all have them. If you hear a doctor tell you every operation is a success, if you hear any practitioner of any kind of healing method say, my method works for everyone, I recommend that you not walk away, that you run in the opposite direction, because we all have failures. We all have times when things just don't work out despite our best intentions. And so when I was thinking about this whole idea of times when it didn't work, one stood out to me in a big way. I was teaching a workshop on energy psychology at a big retreat center with a lot of people there. And we had maybe 60 people in this class. And I was teaching a variety of energy healing techniques, EFT tapping, as well as some Gestalt therapy techniques, some techniques with body awareness, and so on. And there was one woman in the class who clearly was really intelligent, really capable, but also clearly had some emotional issues. Now, a lot of us have emotional issues. I have emotional issues. You have emotional issues. We all have emotional issues. But she seemed to have a lot of them. And they also showed up in her body. She was maybe 150 pounds overweight, and she was having a really difficult time getting up the stairs, walking around. Just carrying her body around was a real challenge for her. So I was doing this exercise with all these people in the workshop, a very simple exercise where you simply turn to someone near you, you say something, turn to someone else and give them a hug. And then when you give them a hug, you feel the sensations in your body. Well, after that workshop exercise, when I asked for feedback, this woman just absolutely exploded in anger. She accused me personally of being an abusive teacher. She accused me of loudly and with really explicit language. She said her anger just flared out of me in an enormous way. And she was absolutely just beside herself with anger and directed personally at me and saying I was doing these things, that my teaching was triggering her emotions and so on. And so I was faced with a very difficult situation there. What I did, what I responded with was a wonderful technique called nonviolent communication, and also with active listening. So as she would say something, I would say exactly what she'd said. I would mirror her language back to her. I hear you're feeling really angry at me now. Things like that. I hear you think that this was an irresponsible exercise for me to do with a class and a workshop. And I would say these things to her. And saying those things to her using a whole variety of skills, it took about 2 hours to calm her down. So the whole class came to a halt. You know what those times feel like too, when somebody's ranting and raving and angry. The energy in the room is so electric. Everyone's just like nervous and on edge, and no one knows what's going to happen next. And it's just terribly triggering for everyone in the room. So everyone in the room was sitting there just so triggered as well. And I was triggered personally too, but I had these great skills. So I breathed. I let go of my own sense of being attacked. When someone attacks you directly and personally like that, it's very easy to get defensive. It's very easy to justify yourself. And so I just sat there. I didn't do any of those things. I repeated her words after her. I was tapping while I was doing it. Occasionally, she was tapping a little bit as well. And gradually, after about an hour and a half, she began to calm down. Finally, after 2 hours, she was calm. We dismissed the class at that point for a break. Also, I made sure that she was safe. I made sure that she knew somebody. She was there with a friend. So I made sure her friend was going to spend time with her on break and also after class that day, and that her safety was really assured by attention from me, from her friend there, and from other class members. So it was a really difficult situation. And I was also really worried because at this big retreat center, all the participants in the workshop fill out evaluation forms of the teacher, me. And so I was worried that they were going to write things like, wow, this guy is just triggering people. I just didn't know what they were saying about me. And you know what? A whole bunch of people at that workshop mentioned the incident in their evaluations and said it was the most profound learning experience in all of their training in coaching and energy psychology. They said they learned so much from watching me handle the raw anger of that participant. If you look at the testimonials on my website, you'll see an actual testimonial from one of the people who witnessed this. And she was just blown away by watching somebody handle a situation gone bad with, again, I was very triggered. I mean, I'm no saint. I wasn't sitting there feeling fine about this. I felt terrible about it. But I had the skills to handle it well. Now, I needed to use a range of skills from Gestalt therapy to EFT tapping to various verbal skills to help defuse the situation. But I used those skills. And I had that large grab bag of skills. And that is so important to have that variety of skills. Now, I've trained thousands of people. Unfortunately, that was a one-time event. And occasionally I do have a client who is triggered or someone is upset during a workshop, but never to the extent that that lady was triggered. And of course, ultimately, I knew intellectually it was because of her own body and her own shame, and then holding someone and then feeling her body and then having all these emotions arise, not knowing how to deal with them and projecting them at me. I can tell you all that as someone who's read plenty of psychology books. But when that anger is directed at you, you need those skills, and you also need the skill of emotional self-regulation. In some of my online courses, I talk about emotional self-regulation as being the #1 skill that's useful in relationships of any kind, with clients, with friends, with children, with parents, with spouses. You need to have the ability to regulate your own emotions so you don't react defensively or angrily when someone else has those big emotions. So I thought I'd just share with you that one time when there was this huge explosion in a workshop. It didn't seem to go well, and yet I got fantastic feedback, and I've been invited to speak at that place ever since. I've been doing workshops there now every single year, once or twice a year ever since. They love the workshops, and they see the feedback, and they see the huge breakthroughs people get when they learn these techniques and apply them in their own lives. I'd love to invite you to know more about energy psychology, learn the possibilities behind some of these techniques. Go ahead and grab my free course sampler of our energy psychology certification program. You can do that right below there. Also, please give me a thumbs up, like this video, and post your comments right down below that. Maybe tell me about your worst experience of either being a healie or a healer, whatever happened in your life that may have triggered you. And again, I'd love to invite you to learn more about our energy psychology certification program. It's a state-of-the-art neuroscience, evidence-based program. It is just fantastic. Do that by entering a comment below, and also subscribe to my channel for more. But go ahead and get that course sampler at the very least and see the potential of this huge variety of really skillful techniques to make all the difference in your healing and the healing of those around you. Thank you so much.